Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, we gotta ask ourselves the question, are we ready for what potentially is to come next week at San Diego Comic-Con? And why should we be asking ourselves this question? Well, there is going to be a Marvel Studios panel just a week away from the point in which you're watching this video, and a lot of things are gonna happen. This is usually going to be the point in Marvel where they announce all of their future movies, their future TV shows, a lot of their plans. They're going to announce castings. They're going to announce all this juicy information that is going to be affecting the comic book market. So we got to ask ourselves the question, whether we're somebody who wants to collect, whether we're someone who wants to buy, whether we're someone who wants to sell comic books, are we ready and what is our game plan going to be? So in this video, we're going to talk about all the potential rumors that could be coming out next week and the books that relate to them. But before I get into the video, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel doing those things, I appreciate it. But let's get into this video here today. And of course, the first thing we got to, emphasize is that Marvel Studios did announce that they were going to be having their panel at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm sure you guys are well aware that, San Diego Comic-Con, the Marvel panel, this is usually where they have those big juicy announcements where they'll announce their phase slate. You get all these graphics that people like to, always post on those rumor channels. And one of the things I think is really interesting is that it's already been kind of leaked what potential things they're going to be talking about in their panel. So I'm going to go over these rumors and these leaks in this video here. If you're somebody who doesn't want to hear potential spoilers, this may not be the video for you, but this is, if true, is going to be announced next week. So you're probably going to hear about it anyways. But right here in the Marvel Studios spoilers thread, this is a popular thread that is going on right now. Usually what happens with these types of rumors and these types of leaks is that, the cream rises to the top. So when you get a rumor that has coming from a source that, people trust in the leaker space, it usually gets upvoted, pretty high. Now it is possible and likely that it is all BS. Some of the stuff is definitely sounding kind of sus, but some of the stuff actually sounds really, really cool and plausible. So let's go through these rumors one by one, and we'll talk about them, and we'll talk about some of the books that I think are interesting as a result of it. So here is the presumed lineup for the San Diego Comic-Con panel. So the first thing that they talk about is Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds will be in attendance to announce the next Deadpool movie, which is entitled Deadpool 3, which I think is really interesting. It's apparently not going to be titled Deadpool 3. Director Sean Levy will send in a video. So Sean Levy is going to be directing the film. He's the guy that directed the Free Guy movie, and Ryan Reynolds apparently is going to be making an announcement. So that's really interesting. Obviously, the book, to talk about with that is New Mutants 98. I'm not really sure that this particular announcement with having Ryan Reynolds talk about Deadpool 3 is going to create a huge spike in this book. I mean, I think this is still a great desired key, one that has definitely been falling off, the cliff ever since the 2021 boom. You can see this thing has not stopped dropping in price over these last few months or so. But I do think that this announcement, seeing Ryan Reynolds up there, might at least start to, create the new floor for this thing. I mean, 30-day moving has been 1,500. So I could see the excitement for this announcement really starting to level off this book. Maybe we'll see a few spike in sales, but it feels like, this will sort of stop the bleeding for this one. So definitely really interesting. Will be great to see what we get for Deadpool, but let's, continue on here and see what else they're going to talk about. Black Panther, Ryan Coogler, Denai Guerrera, excuse me if I got it wrong, Tenoch Huerta and Dominic Thorne will be present and bring their first trailer for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So apparently we're going to get the Wakanda Forever trailer. I mean, I think a lot of the Wakanda Forever books have already been sort of moving in the market. There's already been leaks about, Riri Williams. There's already been leaks about Namor and Atlantis and all those things. So I don't necessarily know if we're going to see too much movement for those particular books outside of what they've already been doing. And I don't actually know if we're going to be getting the trailer posted immediately after the fact. Sometimes they show these trailers exclusively at the con, and then it's, still a few months before they actually put it out. Let's see here. Secret Invasion. No one will be in attendance for Secret Invasion, but they will reveal the main cast and share some footage. So another one like Black Panther right here. I think the Secret Invasion rumors are probably going to stay the same. I mean, it's been inferred that Emilia Clarke is going to be playing Varenki, who of course is the queen of the Skrulls. I still don't know if that's going to have a, big movement on this book, because that feels like it's going to be a plot reveal at some point in Secret Invasion. And I can imagine that even if we do get images or visuals of the show itself, it's not like the trailer is going to announce the fact that Emilia Clarke is Varenki. So I still don't know if this book is going to have much movement during this announcement, but we might see a little bit of increased interest for this book, which did spike earlier this year, but definitely fell off a little bit, once people kind of moved on on to the next thing. All right, the next one here is Blade. Mahershala Ali, Kit Harington, Aaron Pierce, Milan Ray, and Basim Turek will be in attendance for some news. One big piece of news is that Anthony Starr will play Dracula. Okay, that's the first big juicy tidbit that I think is really interesting to talk about. Apparently, Anthony Starr is going to be paraded out on stage and announced to be cast as Dracula. For those who don't know, Anthony Starr is the actor who plays Homelander in The Boys show, and he is amazing. Like, he is such a great Homelander. He's absolutely killing this part, and that is super exciting if they announce him to be the character of Dracula. Of course, Tomb of Dracula #1, a book that I actually recently acquired for myself, is the first appearance of Dracula in Marvel comic books, and this is the book that a lot of people have been speculating on for quite some time, thinking that, you know, if we're getting Blade, if we're getting Werewolf by Night, it only makes sense to have a character like Dracula. And if they get an actor at the caliber of Anthony Starr's level to play Dracula, that makes me extremely bullish on this book overall. I mean, I think that, you know, if they're getting that actor, I don't foresee, you know, them being a one and done situation for Dracula. At least an actor like Anthony Starr would be getting a few movies to build up with his character. So that is super, super juicy, super, super interesting. And if you're someone out there, you know, who has this book, or maybe you're someone out there who wants to pick up this book, now might be a good time to, you know, sneak a copy off of eBay if you can find like a good deal or a live auction. Or if you're a seller, you know, you may want to wait to sell your book until, you know, after San Diego Comic-Con, if in fact this rumor ends up being true. So definitely something to look out for. All right, this is another interesting one to talk about, the Marvels. Brie, Amon, and Tayona will be there at the show and show footage. Zawe Ashton will not be present due to her pregnancy. Anson Mount will reprise his role as Black Bolt. That's super interesting of a leak, you know. So Anson Mount, of course, Black Bolt made his first appearance in Fantastic Four 46. We got the Black Bolt character in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and a lot of people were kind of thinking that this would be sort of a one and done book. But, you know, if they do bring back Anson Mount, I mean, that would be kind of a big thing for the legs of this particular key right here, which is already starting to cool off due to the excitement and the hype that it got during Doctor Strange. So kind of really, really cool. I mean, I think that a lot of people really liked what they saw with Anson Mount, Black Bolt in the Illuminati. I mean, let me know what you guys think. And it'll be really interesting to think about him showing up in the Marvels and what that means for the Inhumans and what that means for the Cosmic MCU. Additionally, this is really juicy. Jodie Turner-Smith will join as Medusa in the post-credits of the movie, setting up Universal Inhumans as a big cosmic story going forward. So that's a pretty big leak right there. I mean, I don't really know what that means as far as like, you know, if the leaker right here is talking about it being a post-credit scene, well, that doesn't seem like that would track with, you know, them parading them out at San Diego Comic-Con. So this could be a situation where it's total hearsay and probably won't come true. But if it does become true, if they're going to utilize Black Bolt and they're going to bring in Medusa, that would make a lot of sense if they wanted to bring in Medusa. Of course, Fantastic Four #36, first appearance of Medusa, as well as the first appearance of the Frightful Four. This is a great book, a great Silver Age key, and definitely one that I think is really interesting. So another one, you know, definitely depending on where you are with this book, you know, how you feel about it, not to say, you know, you need to go FOMO buy anything, but, you know, it is something to consider if in fact we get sort of this juicy rumor to come out. All right, the next one to talk about here, I think is also really interesting, World War Hulk. So it was originally going to be a movie. It is now being turned into a 4-part series for Disney Plus that may have some small theatrical release. That's really interesting just from a business side of things, that they're thinking about doing a Disney Plus show that might have theatrical release as well. Maybe that's them sort of testing the waters. This could possibly be the big Avengers event before Secret Wars with many big characters. So of course, World War Hulk was a rumor that came out earlier this year, or maybe it was actually at the end of last year. Everybody was talking about World War Hulk, and this is the book right here that absolutely blew up in the market. There's still a lot of conversation about this book, you know, being something that is going to be set up in the She-Hulk show, that apparently we're going to get, you know, Scar at the end of the She-Hulk show, and then Hulk is going to go after him, and that's going to set the foundation for World War Hulk. I originally talked about this book when the rumors first came out. You know, it is interesting that we're getting these rumors, that we're getting this potential storyline, the World War Hulk, you know, connection to the Illuminati, which we got in Doctor Strange. Could make a lot of sense. I mean, it is a really, really great storyline and could be an epic, you know, crossover movie. But, you know, one of the things I think about is like, you know, the more you start to hear these rumors, and we're hearing them again and again and again, the more you think that maybe there is something to this. So I could see, you know, if they announce that World War Hulk is coming, I definitely think that this book will definitely have another surge up in the market. It is a key that has really, really fallen off since that initial rumor. I mean, it was selling at that $50, $60 range for issue #1. Now you can probably find find them on eBay for $20. I see them all over the place at LCSs for, $20 or so. So I can see this book getting another resurgence in the market. All right, let's talk about the next few rumors here. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a majority of the cast will be in attendance and they will show some footage. Okay, that's pretty cool for sure. One of the things I think is interesting with this is that, we know that we're going to have Adam Warlock. So those keys, Thor 165, Marvel Premiere 1, maybe we're going to get footage of Adam Warlock and that can, create a resurgence for those books' values and those keys. But one thing I think is interesting is this book that I keep talking about, Thor 134, first appearance of the High Evolutionary. Again, there's been so many rumors about High Evolutionary, but it's not yet been confirmed that this is actually going to be the villain in the show. And I think, whereas Warlock has been confirmed to be a hero that's going to be showing up in Guardians 3, I think this might be the actual point where they officially announce that High Evolutionary is going to be a villain in the show. And I think that when they announce that, this book will absolutely move. I mean, I feel like this is still a expensive key as it is right now, but not as expensive as other books proportional to it, Silver Age books that came out in 1966 around the same time, around the same character. So I could definitely see this book getting a major spike. And I could definitely see that if we're going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 panel, they could definitely announce that, yes, the actor who was in Peacemaker is in fact playing High Evolutionary, and we might get some visuals of the character. All right, the next announcement we got here is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We will see some footage with actors Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, and Newton present. Jonathan Majors will send in video as Kang. So that's super interesting too. And that one is, super exciting because obviously I've talked about Avengers number 8 quite a bit, first appearance of Kang the Conqueror. I think that this book right now is still undervalued. I mean, I thought it was undervalued, even some months back based on where it was in the market. And this book has definitely corrected with this new sort of bear market economy, recession, and things like that. And I still think that this is still a huge opportunity. I feel like the Jonathan Majors version of Kang is going to be a super important character into the MCU moving forward. And it feels like we're going to get many iterations of him, many variants of him, and he's going to be utilized in multiple properties. And that's one of the things you have to think about with these keys is that they often correct after movies and after shows because these characters often, go out of sight or out of mind. That's why villain spec is harder because, once you get a villain in a movie, they typically don't show up again. But if we're going to get Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then we're also going to see him again in Loki season 2, I feel like we're going to see him again, maybe in like the Fantastic Four movie. Maybe we're going to see him again in the Secret Wars film. So I feel like we're going to get Jonathan Majors in many, many, many properties. And it makes me really, really bullish on this book. And I think, if we get that visual image of Jonathan Majors in his actual Kang the Conqueror, look, which, by all accounts, based on the timeline right now, I mean, you would think that there would be some shots that are done for Ant-Man and the Quantumania, which is a movie that is releasing in February of next year. So it's not out of the question that they might have some imagery already done of the Kang the Conqueror characters. So that would be really, really huge for that book. All right, last 3 announcements to talk about. Wonder Man will be announced with Henry Golden as Simon Williams. An interesting detail is that Evan Peters is returning as Ralph Boner, but may have a new name, will likely be a side character in the show. So, we recently talked about how Marvel came out announcing Wonder Man. Of course, Avengers number 9 has moved a lot in the market. Wonder Man number 1 has moved a lot in the market. And apparently they've cast Henry Golding to be Wonder Man as an actor. Of course, Henry Golding, if you guys know, was the lead of Crazy Rich Asians. He was in the Snake Eyes movie. He played Snake Eyes. So that would make a lot of sense. I mean, Daniel Destin Creighton, who is overseeing that, who did Shang-Chi, he's half Asian himself. Henry Golding is a half Asian character. Marvel looking to do diversity. Maybe they're thinking, hey, let's make Wonder Man sort of like a half Asian character. I could definitely see that happening. So it'll be interesting to see, what else that does for the rumors for this particular book when we get official, discussion around the character. One of the other interesting things is that, if they're going to bring back Evan Peters, there's been a lot of talk about Avengers number 52, which is the first appearance of the Grim Reaper, who is Wonder Man's brother. And then, of course, there's this book right here, which, yes, I know is a meme at this point, but Silver Surfer number 3, first appearance of Mephisto. And it does beg the question, like, what was the deal with Evan Peters and that character in WandaVision? Was it just sort of a running gag, like just to have Evan Peters, Quicksilver show up, and that was just sort of fun for the fans? Or is this something that, the Marvel is thinking, hey, maybe we can sort of retcon this storyline of who Evan Peters was? Like maybe Evan Peters, it was Mephisto in disguise, or maybe Evan Peters was actually the Grim Reaper in some kind of way, because of course we had those Easter eggs. And I can definitely see, Marvel thinking, maybe it wasn't their initial intention to have Evan Peters be a particular, major villain, but maybe they're also thinking like, hey, possibly we can retcon this into something that fans will be really, really excited about. And apparently this rumor is saying that he will return, but under a different name. So that could be really, really interesting. All right, this next one here is super cool to talk about. Daredevil Man Without Fear will be announced with Charlie Cox starring alongside Isa Gonzalez as Elektra. And man, if that's actually true, that's going to be super, super exciting. Of course, Daredevil 168, first appearance of Elektra, an amazing book, one that has already shot up to really high numbers in the market. But if they get an actress like Isa Gonzalez, this is instantly going to be a fan favorite. I mean, she is super badass, obviously incredibly beautiful, was amazing in Baby Driver. So I really think that she could be great casting for this. And it'll be interesting to see all the Daredevil keys move. And it makes a lot of sense that they'll finally announce like a Daredevil show or movie or whatever. I mean, we know that Charlie Cox is Daredevil in the MCU already. And we also know that he's going to be returning in Echo. So, it's only a matter of time before we actually get, him in his own show. And it just would make sense for them to announce it here. All right, the last little bit of news is what they say is the big reveal. At the end of the panel, will, like the announcement for Blade in 2019, which was the last time they were at San Diego Comic-Con, it will just be some titles and their associated stars. Feige will announce a mutant-centered film with Giancarlo Esposito as Charles Xavier and Glenn Powell as Scott Summers. I absolutely love this potential right here. Of course, if you guys know Giancarlo Esposito, famous for playing the Los Pollos Hermanos guy in Breaking Bad. He's in Star Wars now. Apparently, he's been sort of fan cast to be Professor X. I could see them going this way, trying to do something different, getting a black actor to play Professor X. I mean, I definitely can see that happening. And Giancarlo Esposito, I mean, incredible voice. Incredible actor, and would be interesting to definitely see what he does with the Professor X character. But this one right here too, Glenn Powell as Cyclops, I love this casting. I think Glenn Powell is awesome. You guys may know him from, he was the, Iceman in the recent Top Gun type of thing. But this guy is a great actor. He's got great comedic chops. I've actually worked with him before. So I think this is a fantastic casting for Scott Summers Cyclops, and that would be super exciting. Of course, the book to watch after this will be X-Men #1, one of the big grails out there in the market. And it would make a lot of sense that if the MCU wants to make that big next splash, that big next announcement at San Diego Comic-Con next week, they will in fact announce the X-Men. It'll probably be one of those things where, kind of like how they announced Fantastic Four, just a movie that is coming and nothing really else beyond that. I could see them just doing this. We're just going to say, X-Men is coming. They'll have a graphic. They'll announce the two characters, and then it'll be a few years before we actually see anything. Anyways, that is all for this video. That was me just talking about what's potentially going to come next week. San Diego Comic-Con is upon us. We have D23 later on this year. I'll definitely talk about those rumors when we get there. Let me know what you guys think. I think now is the time to prepare, at least come up with a strategy. What is the game plan for you guys, whether you're buyers or sellers, going into next week? Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and we'll see you in the next video.